So the South Korean military is the U.S. military. It's the same thing, by the way. It's directly controlled by the U.S. military. And as you guys know, there have been attempts by some elements in the government in the South Korea to pursue reunification talks with the North and pursue peace with the North. And that's something that was going on during the Trump administration. That was the government in charge of South Korea. And they, are gone. They got removed because the peace talks were not going as fast as, people said they should go. Well, it was really just the U.S. spreading propaganda against them. And now, fearing and anticipating, I think, a Trump presidency. I mean, what's the other explanation for all this hubbub? Basically, the global elites are soft launching and testing the waters for martial law, just suspending parliament, suspending democracy, and having full-on fascist dictatorship. That didn't go very well in South Korea. People were up in arms, they got to the streets, and they fucking went crazy. So like, oh, okay, we're not gonna do that, of course, we're just testing the water. Because they wanna see and test our response. They wanna see what we're gonna do. When they do that here, they're gonna do it here. But they're going to do it around the whole world, just like lockdowns during COVID. But they just want to see what our response is going to be. They're curious about our response. They're curious about how we react. And South Korea was a testing ground. It was literally a testing ground, right? And I don't know how it's going to happen here. I don't know whether it's going to be under Trump or someone else, or maybe Trump will get assassinated. I don't know. But I know that was a testing ground for something they plan on doing everywhere in the so-called developed world. And what is this running up to? Well, World War III. Now, in France, they have collapsed the government because Parliament didn't agree to a budget or something, and I've heard talks that Macron is planning on adopting emergency powers. Yes, just like Hitler did, basically. That is a new precedent that's going to be set, and that's what's going to happen in the world's liberal democracies. There's going to be emergency power decrees, there's going to be martial law, and there's not going to be much of a regard for the so-called democracy anymore. So, look, guys, I don't want to be hyperbolic when I call all of these things fascism. I'm just trying to tell you what the Comintern used to say fascism was. Whenever there was a looming danger of emergency powers throughout the 1930s, whenever there was a looming danger of just suspending parliaments or suspending Congress, they said that was fascism. That was a symptom of fascism. Guys, I want you to understand what fascism actually is. The reason that the Comintern characterized the Nazis as fascists wasn't just because Hitler was a fan of Mussolini. It was because the first case of this extra parliamentary emergency power stuff, that happened in Italy first. And the word that the Comintern adopted for that specific tendency of the bourgeois governments was fascism, right? So one of the reasons they called social democracy the moderate wing of fascism is because in the early 1930s, the leading Social Democratic Party in Germany set the precedent for Hitler by adopting emergency powers. And that was a fascistic tendency. Well, why? Because that is actually what happened in Italy, So Hitler then adopts Hitler fully just suspends the Constitution and the law. He adopts the emergency powers. They ban all the opposition, and voila, it's fascism. So fascism was not like, the palingenic, blah, 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 blah. No, it was very simple. When the bourgeois state just, no more elections, sorry, the elites just take over at the barrel of a gun directly. It seems like it couldn't happen, but it has happened many times. And And they didn't come to power based on like revolutions, violent social changes or transformations. They just do it. Yeah, like in Ukraine. Yeah. Ukraine did it in Maidan 2014. Zelensky did it during the war, during late 2022. So this is really what fascism is. And yes, NATO countries and NATO-aligned countries are just becoming fascist. If it isn't fantastical or scary to you, well, I don't know what to tell you. That's fascism. That's fascism. What they're trying to do is fascism. They don't have all of those costumes and all of those ridiculous ornaments and those all that cosmetic stuff. Well, don't hold your breath. They might adopt. It'll be furries. It'll just be furries goose stepping, and NAFO. When you think about it, NAFO really are like black shirts. It's like black shirts, straight up. So, I mean, that's what's happening in the free world, fascism. And look at all these stupid, far-right LARPing, idiot, dumb fucks. Fascism is literally what's happening right now. Congrats. That's literally what your ideology is.